So let's talk a little about what's unfolding right at this moment. With us, as you heard just before the news, if you were listening, Sonia Purnell. She wrote the Unauthorised biography of Boris Johnson called Just Boris, A Tale of Blonde Ambition. Hello again, Sonia.
Hello.
And also with us, thank the Lord, is Bridget Fowler, an expert in constitutional and parliamentary affairs at the Hansard Society. Bridget, hello.
Afternoon.
Must feel like Christmas to you today. You're loving this, aren't you?
I wouldn't put it quite like that.
So they're out voting now, voting whether to get to they're voting on the second reading of this bill, is that correct?
That's correct, yes. And the second reading of a bill is the vote on the principle of whether or not the bill should go forward at all. So if the bill were to be defeated in this vote, it would go no further. That would be it.
Right, we're expecting a win, aren't we, for the proposers of the bill?
Yes, we are, yes.
So do me a favour, I'm going to talk to you in a little bit more detail because I'm fascinated about how everything might unfold tonight, but would you keep your eye on the telly and throw something at my forehead when you see the tellers come back, because we want to carry the vote live?
Of course.
Okay, good. So it's on your head. That's just in case if anyone starts being sacked for missing the vote, it's your fault. Sonia, let's talk about Boris Johnson then. He's a man at the centre of events very quickly. In his first PMQs today, Nicholas Soames loses the whip. Philip Hammond loses the whip. Does he look to you like a man who has a plan?
No, he looks like a man in a mess, actually. It really isn't a good way to start your prime ministerial career. I mean, he's already lost his one vote, he's lost his majority, and now he's failed to perform at PMQs. I mean, it is very disappointing. I think a lot of people thought that Boris Johnson had more in him than that he was a performer, that he would rise to the occasion. In fact, if anything, we've seen him look riled, we've seen him look angry, we've seen him lose his cool. And I'm afraid, I used to work with him all those years ago. I used to be his deputy, and I saw him then. He could lose his cool quite spectacularly, particularly in private. And I think, again, we're seeing that lack of stability that you really want in any prime minister.
On the flip side, they were led to believe there is a theory within the Tory leadership that actually this makes him look a strong man. He is a populist, isn't he? You've given your opinion, but we don't know yet how this is playing out in the country. They might like him swearing at Prime Minister's question, calling Jeremy Corbyn a big girl's blouse. That might be going down very well.
Yes, I mean, it might be. We don't know yet. But I would invite people to really consider that we are in a time of severe national crisis, and actually using silly language to divert attention is not a good idea. What we have to keep focusing on is, like you said, does he have a plan? Are there really serious negotiations going on? Doesn't look like it. No one seems to be able to find them if they are. And are they making any progress? Again, there doesn't seem to be any. Where are we going with all this strongman tactics? Because we don't actually seem to be going anywhere.
Okay, well, look, let's roll it back and give us some insight then from your time. You said you were his deputy. Where was that? What were you doing? And you said he lost his cool. So go on, give us some examples of what happened.
Okay, so I was his deputy back in the early 1990s. We were both reporting on the EU for the Daily Telegraph. So we had a Brussels bureau. We were an office of two, so you get to know someone pretty well. Particularly, we were working very long hours. It was during the Maastricht Treaty negotiations. They seem very tame now, but they seemed quite exciting at the time. And so, I saw him under pressure, and I saw him when he was sort of confronted with something or challenged or didn't get his way. He has an incredible and very, very scary temper, which I saw close up a few times, and I wouldn't like to see again. But also what worried me was the big chasm between what I saw with my own eyes was happening and other people saw and reported, and how he reported it in the newspaper. And I have to say that, many times I thought, goodness, how on earth did he, how was he able to report that event in that way? Because that didn't seem to me at all what actually happened.
But I guess he conversely could say the same about you, isn't it? All down to interpretation. Was he a news reporter or a sketch writer at the time?
We were both news reporters, and of course he might well say the same about me. But I think what you should look at is there were a lot of British journalists there at the time for a range of different newspapers from different political traditions, and a lot of broadcasters too. I think if you tried to interview pretty much anyone who was in Brussels at that time reporting on the EU, they would say the same as me. And if you read my book, there's a whole chapter about quoting dozens of people saying, I simply couldn't believe that he could write that in that way, because he must know it's not true. He's not stupid. He knew it's not true, but he wanted to make a splash. He wanted to project himself, and he was brilliant at that. He still is. That's his greatest talent. I'm not sure there's anyone on these islands that is as good at it as he years. The problem is, and the question I asked in the book and the question I've asked ever since is, what's it all for apart from the greater projection of Boris Johnson? What is he actually doing to help the rest of us out there trying to lead our lives, keep our jobs, keep a roof over our heads? We are not getting anywhere closer to resolution of this mess, and just posturing and big man tactics in the Commons doesn't help.
I'm going to come back to you very shortly. He'd hate this being the man. From what you've described, he wants everyone to be talking about him, because I guess he would say that you know, he's, when you said what is he doing for the good of the country, he would argue that he's trying to obey a public referendum that said we want to leave the European Union, and he's trying to get it with the best deal possible. So what more could he do for the people of this country at this stage?
Okay, so what he could do is be honest with the people. I mean, the fact is that no progress is being made with the EU, and the EU is a collection of 27 states. It's legalistic. It has to obey rules. The point is, they're not going to throw Ireland, who want to remain members of the EU, under the bus. They're not going to back down on the backstop. And whatever we say about the having a no deal, they're just not going to do
but
that.
All right, then just he's not here to defend himself, Boris Johnson. Is Jeremy Corbyn as deluded by thinking he can renegotiate a new deal with the European Union?
Yes, quite likely, actually.
Okay. All right, Sonia, great to talk to you. Thank you.